Hey there, learning designers. Today, we're going to get into something that's at the absolute core of what we do. How do we structure content for someone who's a complete beginner? Let's explore some really powerful patterns that can make all the difference.
I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We're not just throwing information out there, we're building a journey. How do we lay down the tracks so that a total newbie can get from point A to, well, to real understanding without getting completely lost? It's a huge challenge, and today we're going to start building out the answer.
I want you to think of this as adding 4 essential patterns to your personal designer's toolkit. We'll unpack the deductive approach, the hierarchical scaffold, the process-oriented path, and the synthetic method. And then we'll quickly wrap up with what's next for your toolkit. Sound good? Let's dive in.
Okay, first up is the deductive approach. You might also know it as general to specific sequencing. And let me tell you, it is an incredibly effective pattern when you're introducing learners to a brand new subject.
So, how does this actually work? Well, you start with a big picture. It's kind of like showing someone a map of the entire country before you start zooming in on a single street. You give them the main ideas, the key frameworks first, and only then do you dive into the nitty-gritty details and all the specific applications.
And here's the magic behind it, the why. This is grounded in David Ausubel's work way back in 1968. He called these big picture overviews advanced organizers. The whole idea is that by giving your learners a mental framework up front, you seriously reduce their cognitive load. It gives them a place to hang all the new details you're about to throw at them, which makes the whole learning process way more efficient.
So, when should you pull this tool out of your kit? It is absolutely perfect for new learners, especially when you're dealing with conceptual subjects where context is king. For example, if you're building a course on AI, you wouldn't just jump into the weeds of how neural networks learn. No way. You'd start with that big, simple question, what is AI? That provides the crucial foundation for everything that comes next. All right, our next tool is the hierarchical scaffold, or as it's often called, simple to complex sequencing. If you are designing any kind of skill-building course, this one is going to be your best friend. The concept here is just beautifully straightforward. Each piece of your content is a prerequisite for the next. You're basically building a ladder, and you can't let your learners skip any of the rungs. They have to master step 1, then they can move to step 2, and then step 3, with each step getting just a little more complex. The theory on this one comes from Robert Gainey from 1965. He talked about creating a clear scaffold. You're literally building a support structure for your learners. Each skill they master becomes this solid platform they can stand on to reach for the next, more difficult skill. It just works. Now, this pattern is absolutely ideal for skill building and procedural learning. Think about software training, for instance. You would never teach someone how to add content to a learning management system before you've taught them the absolute basic of how to create the course shell in the first place. It's all about that logical, step-by-step climb. Okay, our third pattern is maybe the most intuitive one of all, the process-oriented path, or just simply chronological sequencing. This one is all about following the natural flow of things. With this approach, you structure your course to mirror a real-world process. The learning path just follows the same logical order of steps that happen in reality. This makes the whole experience feel super natural and intuitive for your learner. And here's a fantastic, simple rule of thumb to know if you're on the right track. Just ask yourself this. Could my learners follow along with this course while they are actually performing the task in real life? If the answer is yes, congratulations, you're using chronological sequencing. It's a perfect match for things like performance support and job aids. And this example for a research methodology course just shows it perfectly, right? You would never analyze data before you've collected it, and you wouldn't collect it before you've even designed the study. The course structure simply maps directly onto the real-world workflow, step by step. All right, onto our fourth and final pattern for today, the synthetic method. This is also called part-to-whole sequencing. Now, this one is absolutely crucial for those highly technical topics. This is basically the reverse of that deductive, general to specific approach we started with. Here, you start with the small pieces. Your learners have to master each individual component first, and only then can you show them how all those little parts integrate and come together to form the complete whole. So, why would you do this? Well, because in some fields, especially the really technical ones, you simply cannot understand the whole system without first mastering its individual parts. Component mastery is totally non-negotiable before you can even begin to think about integration.
You'd use this for technical training where the components themselves are really complex. This bicycle repair example is perfect. You need to master adjusting the brakes, then you need to master tuning the gears, and so on. Each one is a distinct, complex skill. Only after mastering these individual parts can a mechanic even attempt a complete bike overhaul. All right, we have just added 4 really powerful patterns to your sequencing toolkit. So before we wrap up, let's just do a quick side-by-side comparison to help lock these concepts in. Think of this little table as your new cheat sheet. General to specific, that's for concepts, and you start broad. Simple to complex, that's for skills, building on prerequisites. Chronological, that's for processes, following a natural workflow. And finally, part to whole is your go-to for technical training, mastering the components first. 4 distinct tools for 4 very different challenges. So, what's next for your toolkit? It's simple. To really dive deep, read the full text that goes along with this section. And then when you're ready, go on to the next group where we'll explore even more advanced sequencing patterns.